Hi everyone, Lisdalia here, aka the Queen of Hearts. Welcome to my channel, especially those of you who are new. Today we are watching the trailer for Joker Folie et Deux, aka Joker 2. So, I have seen the first movie. I wasn't a huge fan of the first movie. I mean, it was okay. It was fine. But there was a lot of moments that were quite predictable. There was a lot of things that I saw coming, particularly when it came to the deaths that he himself did. And I'm talking the punks on the train, knew that was going to happen. The guy that he worked with, you knew that there was something going to go down there and he would end up doing something there. Knew that he would end up killing his mother, knew that he would end up killing Robert De Niro's character. I never once thought that he would end up killing himself on the show. I was like, yeah, he's probably going to end up killing Robert De Niro's character. So a lot of it was quite predictable. Even the moments where you were questioning whether or not the moment was happening in his head or was it really happening. That happened quite a lot. I would say, oh, is this really happening? Is this in his head? Is it? I couldn't quite tell. But every moment with the woman down the hall, you were always questioning the moment. There wasn't any singular moment apart from the elevator where you first meet her. That felt genuine. But every moment after that never felt, there always was something off about it. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that she always was saying the things that he wanted to hear and saying the things that would be nice and would be kind to him. And given that he was constantly surrounded by people who would be belittling him, and I mean, not even his mother was saying nice things to him most of the time. It was, you're not very funny and all that sort of stuff. Like, his mother wasn't even very nice to him. But the one person who was this random woman who lives down the hall. It just didn't seem, and she laughed at all these jokes that nobody ever laughed at. So it just really seemed very fake. The fact that it turned out to be correct and that it was all in fact fake, therefore didn't really come across as a surprise at all. The Joaquin Phoenix did a great job, though. Even though the movie in and of itself was a bit his performance was actually really, really good. The way that he would move his body, particularly during the dancing scenes, and he'd move his body in such a way that would really accentuate the malnutrition, because you never saw him eat. You saw him feed his mother first and then not eat himself at all. So he was obviously not eating enough, and he would move his body in a way that would really accentuate the bones sticking out of the shoulder and the rib cages, and would really sort of accentuate the thinness of his arms and all that sort of thing. So movement that he did was really great. The whole downward spiral of his sanity was portrayed really well. The symbolic nature of the stairs, every time he was depressed and wasn't feeling great, he was going up the stairs, and the one moment he was actually happy, he was going down the stairs. And during that time, that's when he was doing all the things that would be considered bad and on a downward spiral, but that was actually making him happy for a change. So all of that was done really well. The death of the Waynes, maybe the worst portrayal of the death of the Waynes in live action that I've ever seen. I've seen it done a number of times now, but the woman who played Martha Wayne, I'm sorry, but that was just awful. It was so deadpan. It was very, very badly done. And the young kid who played Bruce Wayne may be the most wooden performance I've ever seen of Bruce Wayne. His parents were literally just killed in front of him, and there was virtually no emotion there in any way, shape, or form. Now, you could say that the kid was in shock, but even when we saw him at other times, there was no like anything out of him at all. And it seems really strange because this moment of his parents being killed in front of his eyes is meant to be like a trigger for him, and is meant to be part of the spiral for him to then become who he ends up becoming. And just to have the kid standing there with like this blank look on his face just really didn't work, honestly. So that whole thing there just, it didn't work. And to be honest, all of the Waynes really didn't work. The character of Thomas Wayne in every other live action thing that I've seen, he's always been kind of like this paragon of good. He is meant to be the savior of the town. Everybody loves and adores Thomas Wayne. They love and adore Martha Wayne. He's meant to be the quintessential good guy, helping out the needy, and he would have turned the city around had he lived that kind of persona. Yet, for some reason, in the first movie, they had him be what I would have attributed to being like a gangster. Most of the lines that you would consider the bad guy of the movie to be making, which is so out of character for everything that I have know about Thomas Wayne. And I don't know if they did that because you needed to have kind of like an opposite, you needed to have a negative to Arthur's story. You needed to, normally he would be the bad guy of the story. He's up against Batman. Batman's our good guy. Joker's our bad guy. But because in this movie you have Joker being our main central character, you can't therefore have him be like our bad guy. You need somebody who's opposite that. But we know he's our bad guy, so you can't have somebody who's even worse than that. And you still want to kind of have the Joker versus Batman, but Batman's not old enough yet, so let's have pair him up against Thomas Wayne. But like it's still, so therefore he's going to say the things that are going to be turn Arthur into like make him go crazy, and just the whole length there, it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. But I don't know if maybe that's just because I'm not very familiar with the comic persona of Thomas Wayne. Maybe he was done that way in the comics and we're just not very familiar with that storyline in the live action, because normally when we come across Thomas Wayne, it's practically right when he's about to get killed. We may see a little bit like we saw in Batman Begins, but we don't typically get a lot of time with Thomas Wayne, and it's usually therefore become like anecdotes from Alfred or things that other people who used to work with Thomas Wayne say about him. But most of the time they're always very lovely, they're always very complimentary, they always say what a great guy he is. He's never portrayed as somebody who would call the entire city of the downtrodden Gotham people clowns. That's not something that would like ever have come out at all. So it just felt really out of place. But you know, if you've read the comics, if you know that this is a storyline that they did in the comics, please do let me know in the comments down below. I would be really interested if that is in fact what they did. I'm not that excited for this sequel at all. I think the only way that will entice me to check this out and to watch it is depending on how they do the Joker now that he's in that persona. The way that he was doing the origin story and the lead up to that, it was very, you could see the roots forming and everything happening, but he wasn't quite there yet. And now that he is there, I'm very much interested to see how he portrays the Joker now that he is the Joker, because in that first one I wouldn't really say he was there. So I'm really interested to see what they do and how they go with that. I'm very interested as to, are we still going to have that same moment of, is this in his head or is this actually happening? How often are they going to use that trope? How often is it going to become an instant of, what's going on here? Is it real? Is it not real? I'd be very interested to see that. But given how lukewarm I was about the first movie, I'm kind of feeling the same at the moment about the second one. But I'm open. I'm open to be pleasantly surprised. I'm hoping to be pleasantly surprised. So without any further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's check it out and see what the trailer has in store for us. I'm going to bring up the good old heart rate monitor. For anybody who's new to my channel, I use my Apple Watch and the heart rate monitor, so that way you guys can see what stuff gets my heart pumping. I'm going to put on the good old headphones. Let's bring up the show. And let's check it out.
Let's go, boys. It's showtime. Wakey, wakey.
Alright, so he was
Hey, Fleck,
caught
you got
at
a
the
joke
end
for us
of the
today?
first movie. It's in the asylum. Oh, yes. So Lady Gaga's Harley
We
Quinn.
use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
So she's a fellow patient.
Let's get out of here.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Tell us, what's changed, Arthur?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. That's what we should be talking about.
I want to see the real you.
I thought she was meant to be like a psychologist. That he like corrupts and stuff. That yeah, I thought she was meant to be a psychologist. Maybe that's just the one that we know from Suicide Squad. But yeah, I thought that she was meant to be like an educated lady, and that he somehow like corrupted her basically. But this makes it look like she was already a patient. She was already a little cray-cray. And then somehow she and he like see each other and she falls in love with him or something. Is that something that they did in the comments? In the comics, that she wasn't always like a corrupted psychiatrist? I don't know. I did hear that it's going to be a lot more musical numbers in this one, which doesn't surprise me if you're casting somebody like Lady Gaga, honestly. And I do see that there's going to be a number of times where they're going to have is this in his head? Is this in her head? Is this in their head? and maybe a little bit more, it'll be a little bit more obvious when it's in their head and not in their head. Like, you'll actually see what's going on through their minds versus what the reality actually is. Maybe you'll have a little bit more of that. Whereas in the first one, they didn't really show the reality of things until, like, well later. So maybe that is going to be a thing in this one. No real idea as to what the story is, other than it's, like, about those two, and how they meet, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I didn't really find that enticing, I'll be honest. I didn't really find it that enticing, because conceivably they could do the entire thing with him behind bars in Arkham, and everything that that takes place outside of that is all in his head, conceivably, which could be interesting, or it could also be very, very boring. It could go either way. At the moment, I don't think this is enticing me to want to go and check it out in the cinema. The first movie, I did want to really go and see it in the cinema, and stuff just happened and I never got a chance to, so I ended up watching it via streaming service. This one, with this trailer, I'm not that excited to go and see it at the cinema. I'm excited to see Gaga as Harlequin. I think that'll be quite interesting, her portrayal there, but the rest of it, not so much. Maybe with another trailer down the track, I might get a little bit more excited about it. But for the most part, I'm happy to wait for this to come onto a streaming service, and, like, I'll wait a while for this one. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is this a movie you want to go to the cinema to see? Did this trailer get you excited for the next movie? I'm really interested in finding out. Let me know in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Consider subscribing if you aren't already. It would really help the channel out. And maybe hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Much love to you all, and I shall see you next time. Bye!